What's going on, everybody? I'm back again with another video, and today I am in Inwood, Manhattan. It's a neighborhood that's pretty northern up in Manhattan. Even though this is not the northernmost neighborhood, the northernmost neighborhood is Marble Hill, which I made a video there a few years ago. But I'm over here in Inwood, right by the plaza, and Dykeman Avenue is right here. So I'm gonna start walking my way around here, then merge into a couple of regular streets to see what the neighborhood has to offer. It's been a minute since I've been here, so without further ado, join me. So here you got some of the intersections. Dykeman Street, got Broadway, residential units, then Inwood Hill Park is right here, which is a nice looking local park. If you walk around Inwood Hill Park, it feels like you're somewhere else. You wouldn't believe this is Manhattan. But we're literally like in the northern tip of the island of Manhattan. So now I'm gonna start making my way towards Dykeman Street to see what are the vibes over there, and we'll see. So far I'm loving the fact that they have a bike lane over here for both angles. But I'm gonna walk straight over this way to see what's going on. But yeah, I got a little bit wrong. I think this park behind me is actually Fort Tryon Park. So Inwood Hill Park is a little bit up more north. So this over here is Dykeman Street. A lot of business. We're in the borderline of Fort George and Inwood. This street literally divides, both of the neighborhoods all together. It's a really nice looking street with business and stuff. Today is Saturday, so probably now it's not really that busy. But I do got like a lot of nice restaurant joints over here. Like I say, it's been a minute since I've been here, so I'm trying to get a little familiar with the neighborhood. Also, I don't know what's going on in the air, because I walk around, I see, not sure if it's like smog or something. Usually in the summertime, we get a lot of this around here in New York City. But yeah, I'm just gonna make my way towards Post Avenue. And I think this is one of the few neighborhoods in Manhattan that still has a little bit more affordable rate and pricing. But I know pretty soon it's gonna change it. It's served by the A train and the 1 train. And you got what's going on, but the neighborhood could really use like a cleanup. Pretty nice that they have a bike lane right here. I'm gonna make it towards Post Avenue and then merge to the left to see what are the vibes. And the thing about this neighborhood, it's surrounded by hills and park. So it gives it like a pretty unique, different type of vibe. Here we got Sherman Avenue, which is also another cool avenue. And there's more over there. It goes up the hill and then the local park is over there. It's really clear, even from close range, you can't really see clearly like the ends. I wonder what is the dust that's up in the air. So I made a detour here. This area is mostly residential, highly Hispanic community, mostly Dominicans, and you can hear like the music playing around because it's summertime. And here's another street. In these neighbors, you'll see a lot of barber shops. And they got a restaurant in the corner. Academy Street, I'm gonna merge. Funny thing, in Jersey City, we have an Academy Street too, so I'm gonna merge to the right to see what are the vibes. As you can see, it's mostly residential. Yeah, once you turn the street, it's mostly quiet and beautiful like this. But if you go to different regions, especially around Broadway, the vibes change there a little bit different. So then the more I walk towards this way, the nicer the neighborhood gets. Post Avenue is ahead of me. I think if I make a left, it'll take me to 207th Street, which is the last stop of the A train. And then 207th Street, you take the bridge and it takes you all the way towards the Bronx. What you get here, mostly residential, Usually when you go to Uptown, Manhattan, and the Bronx, a lot of neighborhoods looks like this. But now I'm just gonna make it towards Post Avenue, walk towards the end to 207 and see how the vibes change over there. Another thing, keep in mind, if you take the 1 train all the way towards the end, it goes above ground, which I took it one time. It's really good vibes, Here you see it's pretty residential, unless you make it a Dykeman or 207 or Broadway, then you see like a lot of business out here. So, and also I love how wide the sidewalks are. So it makes it pretty convenient for people to walk around, Pretty quiet now. I guess in the evening it's gonna get better, Usually in neighborhoods like this, people be hanging out on the sidewalk to play music. It's all about community. I love the top architecture of these apartments over here. And like I say, this is Manhattan. A lot of people, when they think about Manhattan, they always think about skyscrapers, tall buildings, business, but they got residential units like this too. And I'm gonna try to merge in one of the streets that's gonna make you feel like if you're somewhere else, And then I try to make my way towards Inwood Hill Park, which is a nice local park over here. It's like an urban oasis right here in the northern part of Upper Manhattan. See, it's 204th Street, tons and tons of residential units. And it literally goes down the hill, so there's a lot of hills over here. Look at the street over here, it looks cool. Like I say, it feels like if you're somewhere else. And I said in many of my videos, if you come uptown, you're gonna see a lot of hills, because a lot of people think that New York City or Manhattan, it's mostly flat. But if you come uptown and you go to the Bronx, there's like a lot of tons of hills out here. So, you know, it literally has it all. So like I said, you don't need a gym. You can just walk around the neighborhood and that's a good workout, like good cardio. And this over here is New York City. You'll see in every neighborhood when they turn on the water pipes like this. If you guys need your car clean, just turn this on. And I heard it's actually, you know, really clean water. I saw a dude, I think it was on Instagram, he drank from that water. And he said it was like, you know, pretty clean. It was a pretty clean and safe water to drink. So now I'm heading, I think 207th Street should be ahead of me. There's also like above ground, which I believe is the one train that passes by. So gonna see how the vibes changes over there, and I'm gonna try to merge into another street. And this is what you get: residential units, apartments over here. So you got the phone number, you know, the call if you want to rent out around here. Ahead of me is 207th Street, so I'm gonna walk a couple of blocks of it to show you guys. And then I think if I merge a little bit up northern to this neighborhood, the vibes change. Like it's gonna get even nicer, even quieter. So you're gonna see how the contrast is in this neighborhood. There's another restaurant, John's Fried Chicken. There goes the one train over there, above ground. And this over here is 207th Street. This is actually busier than Dykeman, selling fruits and stuff. Yeah, I just remember I walked all of this a few years ago when I made a video over here. Yeah, so it's actually more busier here. Traffic jam and everything, more business happening around here. We got like barber shops around here, stores and everything. So it's really cool. Seems like over here they have better options of restaurants than in Dykeman. But also I heard this area is really famous for nightlife. So you got this, you know, cool streets, and then ahead of me I think it's Broadway. But there's like a local street over here that I want to show you guys what's going on. As you can see, it keeps going, then it goes up the hill. This area reminds me a little bit around the 170th Street area in the Bronx. A little similar. I want to make it towards this street because it's pretty residential and quiet, but I'm probably going to go up and then turn back up to show you the different vibes over here. So let's make it over this way straight down to see what's going on there. You can see how nice the residential street. They got a lot of bandits out there. Not sure if it's counterfeit or anything. I'm just gonna film over this side. And tons of restaurants over here in this area. You can see there's just a lot of business out here, dollar stores and everything. Anything you need, you can just get it out here. And that's Broadway over there, and I think that's where the last stop of the A train goes. But I'm just gonna turn back and show you some of the local streets out here. One street, I think it's called Vermilion Avenue, so I think that one's gonna be really cool to look at. So here's the local street. There's people hanging out, some people playing music in their places. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit hard to film here because everywhere you go, they have like music playing out loud. And you know how YouTube is pretty sensitive with that. But it just shows you the vibes of the neighborhood. Like it's mostly residential, but then you go to main streets, it turns pretty busy and pretty crazy with a lot of restaurants. Now I'm gonna merge over here to my left and make it to a local park and then show you like another area of this neighborhood out here. There should be like a dead end road over here that will merge you to the left side. So I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna cross right here. So now I'm gonna make it here until I make it towards Broadway, and then there should be a local park. Not the Inwood Hill yet, but like a little local park that connects me to another side of this neighborhood. I can start seeing some of the architectures ahead of me. It gets nicer. But actually Broadway is the longest street in New York City. And most of the architecture, even if you go downtown, uptown, wherever you go, it's actually pretty nice because architecture is just top notch. Like over here, you can see there's a church right here. So the bars are pretty different once you hit the Broadway section. And they got this open area over here. Now I'm just crossing the street to see what are the vibes over this way. Broadway is much more chill than the other streets in Inwood. The last time I came to Inwood to film was actually winter, but now it's the summertime, so now you can really feel like the vibes even more than in the winter. Like I said, New York City really hits different in the summertime. Now I'm entering this urban oasis. I'm looking at the park. It's called Isham Park. So I'm gonna go up the hill and show you the vibes over here. Look at this, they got like a huge tree here that they haven't tore it down yet. And then you can admire Broadway. It's crazy how it's right here, but then you go all the way up in the hill. So now we gotta get our cardio ready. Wow, it's a nice looking park with a lot of vegetation and trees. Here I am getting my cardio ready. And then Inwood Hill Park is way bigger than this one. Damn, how do I make it towards the other side? I'm just trying to see what are the vibes over here. See, look at all the trees that is right here in this park. It's like you just enter another world. This park over here connects with the other park, Inwood Hill Park. But there should be a street ahead of me that's called Park Terrace. So I'm gonna walk over there and then this will take me towards another residential part of Inwood. And I think the bars over there are really gonna change. Then over here, it's like you literally just enter another neighborhood, but this is still Inwood. Like here, the roads are better paved, it's cleaner. The apartments are nicer than the regular streets. So I'll show you. Like you got this beautiful residential units. Then there's like a area, I think it connects it to another street. Let me just cross and show you. They got like some stairs down here. If you keep going towards the other side, it's Inwood Hill Park. You see how nice and colonial this is? And that's like a nice looking street over there. But there is one specific street that I want to check out. It's in 217th Street. And I don't know, it looks pretty nice according to what I've seen on Google. And then we got a nice intersection over here that I think is going to be really nice and interesting to look at. Even over here, they got scaffolding. No matter where you go in New York, you cannot avoid scaffolding. This is 215. So like I say, the more upper you go in this neighborhood, the nicer it gets. And then as small as the neighborhood is, you can see it literally goes up the hill. So a lot of cardio you'll be doing out here. Even the demographics in this area, it changes. It's kind of like Washington Heights. Like you got some type of demographics on one side, and when you make it towards another side near Fort Triumph Park, over there, the vibes, they really change. Like it's literally like if it's 2 or 3 neighborhoods in just one. How nice the street is, you know, with the trees and everything, the brick buildings. There's also some nicer residential units out here. And there's people chilling over here. They do a good job, you know, to preserve the street, and the sidewalks actually are pretty clean. But if you go around Dykeman and stuff, it's like literally like a different type of vibe over there. So, and this is the famous 207th. This is the famous 217th Street. This is where you're gonna be like, this is Manhattan. And they got some houses over here. But yeah, I'm gonna show you this side over here. Then look at this street, wow. They got some houses over here. Can't believe it. Almost 15 years living around here, and it's my first time that I discovered this street. Look at this house, it's actually pretty nice. Probably the nicest street you'll find in Inwood. Wow, who would have thought this is Manhattan? Look at these houses. Like it feels like if you're in the suburbs. That's crazy, man. It proves that it has it all. And I like how the leaves, they literally cover up with the houses. So here you got this beautiful houses. And then over here is this apartment complex, but what I like is that it has a lot of trees over here that beautifies the neighborhood. Oh wow, here's another interesting looking house. Even has its own garage, so you can find the parking. They have their own parking, wow. Probably one of the best streets out in Manhattan. Wow, there's more here in the corner. Look at this. It's glued up to this apartment complex. So now I'm making a left at Park Terrace. I should make another left, and that would take me by the Inwood Hill Park. I'm not gonna walk the entire park, but you'll have an idea what it looks like. But it's actually a really, really underrated park over here in the upper part of Manhattan. It just keeps going. What a cool street and neighborhood out here. Who would have thought that walking around Dykeman or 207th Street, you would come across this area over here. It's crazy that it's literally the same neighborhood or the same section out here in New York City. We got a couple of sporting complexes. And then if I walk straight over here, this would take me towards the local park. And this is Park Terrace over here. You can see how nice the street is. But now I'm going down the hill. Like I say, this neighborhood has tons of hills, and then they got like this little things falling off the trees. But the worst case scenario is the appalling. Then over there I can see Spike and Dyer, which is part of the Bronx, New York. One of the nicest neighborhoods in the Bronx, which I made a video over there. Literally see the bridge that divides the Bronx with Manhattan. I literally crossed that bridge also a few years ago, and I was scared to death because it's all the way up high. And if you guys know a little bit about me, you guys know that I'm literally scared of heights. This is Seaman Avenue over here, so look how nice the street is. Oh, and then they got a couple of restaurants down here. And I can see a track field in the other side. It's gonna get much nicer when I walk towards this way. This is only like a little portion of Inwood Hill Park. Now I'm making it towards a little portion of Inwood Hill Park. Wow, it's been a minute since I've been here, but so far I'm loving it. There's like a little area here where you can see the lake, but I'm confused, what does the lake have? It's not moving. Over here where you see those buildings, that's the Bronx, New York. Spike and Dive, and they got a Metro North staging around there, and then this is like the canal that divides the Bronx from Manhattan. But this is a man-made canal. If you go a little bit over towards that way, it's Marble Hill, which is literally a neighborhood that is part of Manhattan. If you look at the map, Marble Hill looks like it belongs to the Bronx, but it's actually part of Manhattan. Actually, I made a video over there exploring and explaining to you why is that the case. But this is the northernmost neighborhood out of Manhattan. But here, as you see, it's a chill day. I guess they're celebrating birthday or quinceañeras, because I see a lot of people hanging out there and picnic. And there's like a huge giant hill over there. That's where deeper in Inwood Hill Park is, but I'm not gonna go all the way that way because I don't really have much time. But I recommend that you guys check out that park. It's good for hiking, and you would not believe that you're in Manhattan. Actually getting hungry too, so I gotta go find a spot to eat too. But let's explore a little bit around here to see what can we find. So I don't know much, but it seems like this canal is very polluted, to be honest. You see the high-rise buildings of the Bronx all the way in the back. So this is Inwood Hill Center. I guess they got like an office of conservancy in the park. I'll also see like a lake, but I'm gonna see what else is around here. Maybe not much, but let me explore. So a lot of people are hanging out in the park. Like the last time I came, I don't remember seeing that much people, but I guess nowadays they're just chilling and playing music. There's also like a softball field league over there, but I'm gonna make it towards this other side to see what's going on by the lake area. Look at this over here. You will think you're in another state or somewhere different, you know, the way you see the mountains and the lake like this. So pretty good vibes. Look at this guy, it looks like a rat, but it's not. I forgot what was the name of this thing. Or maybe it is like a type of rat. This is huge. Now I'm back in the neighborhood, gonna make it to 215th Street and walk all the way down. Probably make my way towards Broadway, but I wanna see how the street looks like around this area, right next to the park. I'm pretty sure it's nice, you know. This is what it looks like. One thing, I'm gonna die with cardio going up the hill. But then once you make it towards the Broadway area, it goes down the hill. And I think it's like literally like a pedestrian area. It's not really like a street that connects you from one side to another one. So, but I really love like the trees are really covering up, you know, the streets and everything. So, I tell you, I came back to New York. I've always been skinny, but I came back to New York from abroad and I think I lost weight. But it is what it is. I'll gain weight back when I go back abroad. I'm approaching the ending of 215th Street, and they got like some staircase that takes you throughout Broadway. It's crazy how the hills are in this neighborhood. But it's really good, you know, like a good source of cardio that you can do over here. It is pretty nice. Wow, they got a couple of names: Park Terrace East, Bruce Reynolds, then 215 John Patrick Burnside, and a beautiful ice cream truck. They even have an area where you could sit down here. Now I'm gonna head down to the stairs. Wow, they're pretty steep. Good thing I'm going down and not going up. So wow. Now I need to fuel up with some food. Reminds me a bit of some parts of the Bronx. You know, the Bronx, New York has a lot of shortcuts like this that you can take the stairs down. So it resembles a little bit of that type of similarity. So some apartment complex. Let me see what does the backyard looks like. Pretty standard, nothing crazy. Actually, this part reminds me a bit of Kingsbridge, where the one train passes by. They have an area like that high, and then you can see the train and some of the residential units. And now I'm approaching Broadway, and Broadway is also like a really cool street in Inwood that goes all the way towards Lower Manhattan. This is Broadway right here. As you see, pretty nice. They got some nicer looking restaurants up in this area comparing to other parts of Inwood. Usually in this part of Broadway, I'm literally up like in a hill, and to my right is literally surrounded by parks. Like they got the Inwood Hill, they got Fort Tryon Park. So, you know, Fort Tryon Park is also like another underrated, nice looking park over here in Uptown. And here you see how business starts. 207 A train is right here, which is the last stop. Goes all the way, there's two verses. One goes, I think, by the Rockaways, then another one goes to Olsen Park in Queens, but it's deep down far. And then some of the residential units right here. Here we have a beautiful looking church. Nice architecture. The Capuchin Franciscans of Good Shepherd. I think this is gonna be a good spot for me to wrap up this video out here in Inwood. So that was the end of my video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Be safe out there. Everybody, God bless y'all, and peace.